you heard of the grabber?
Finny is still getting phone calls, and he always answers with, "Sorry, I can't help you." And this is a spoiler review for Black Phone 2. Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Facundo Nia. Hope you're doing fine. You see, last week I went to see Black Phone 2, and I really liked the movie. I really loved the first one, and I really like this one too. I think that Black Phone 3 is on the way. Black Phone 2 has a big Freddy Krueger vibe all over it, and that's very awesome. Finny Blake is still getting phone calls, but he answers with, "No, sorry, I can't help you." Because the thing is, Finn actually has a great trauma from the first movie that lingers over him.
I killed him.
The thing is, the first 20 minutes of the movie are kind of slow, but they're building up to what's gonna happen later in the movie. So I actually liked it. The movie starts with a young girl. She's talking to somebody on a payphone. And she's like, "Hello, yeah. Oh, I actually got this number from a dream. Yes, it was some small boys. They were telling me, they were giving me all the numbers. Yes." And the other person answers like, "Oh, yeah? I've been having dreams too of some small boys under ice. And I've been dreaming about how these children got killed."
I had a bad dream. It was about missing kids.
The girl who's talking on the phone, she says, "Oh, yes, I also be dreaming about ice. And the children are under the ice. Who are you?" And then the other person on the phone says, "Who are you? How are you calling me?" So this is actually something that's gonna be revealed later in the movie.
What happened in that basement really changed it.
In the beginning of the movie, Finn Blake, he takes down a bully, or maybe it's not a bully, maybe it's just somebody that actually says, "You're the one that killed a serial killer, but you don't seem to be such a big deal." So then Finn Blake, he's starting to starts to pummel this guy a lot, and then says, "If somebody else wants to have a piece of this, does somebody else want to hit me, or does somebody else want to have a fight?" So all the schoolmates are just leaving him alone, and that's how Finn Blake wants to have it, because he doesn't have so many friends after.
I killed him.
What happened in that basement really changed it.
He killed the grabber in the first movie. Then we find out that Gwen is still having nightmares of things that happen in real life, because she keeps seeing 3 boys getting killed. And those murders are very, very gruesome. But we still don't know who the killer is or who these boys are. But we find out that these murders happened in a Christian youth camp. So she decides that she has to investigate. And when she's in the dream state, the whole dream state looks very arty. It looks like the grains and everything, it looks like it was something filmed with a very old camera, and there's some kind of vinyl sounds that go in the background. Yeah, at first I didn't like it so much, a lot in the end, because it's a way to understand that now she's dreaming and now they're awake. But then later in the movie, it's gonna be like a fused dreaming and awake. The special effect with the dream state is very cool later in the movie. So the dream state actually, it grew on me, and it felt very cool in the end. Who was a small girl that called? That was Gwen and Finn's mother, because she actually has the same powers that Finn and Gwen has.
Did you think our story was over?
You're dead.
You, of all people, know that dead is just a word.
Finn's powers are actually a bit different, because he doesn't dream the same way as Gwen does, but he's receiving and he's talking to dead people through phone calls. But actually, maybe he doesn't need a phone. Maybe he just thinks he needs a phone, so that's why he hears voices from phone calls. But I believe that he's actually psychic too. A lot of people have been mad that in this movie it's actually Gwen, Finn's sister, who is the main character. But I think it's okay because I think they both getting time to shine in the movie. Then we find out that Gwen's mother and Finn's mother, she worked in a Christian youth camp. She worked there. And then we find out that these killings actually happened in this Christian youth camp. Finn doesn't want to know anything about these things. He doesn't want to get involved. And he says to his sister, we shouldn't get involved in this. But then Finn's sister actually talks to her friend. He's called Ernesto. Ernesto is a very cool character who is played by the same actor who played Robin in the first movie, in Black Phone 1. Ernesto, he believes in all these things. He believes in dreamscapes and he believes in ghosts and stuff like that. And the thing is, Gwen, the other girls, they bully Gwen because they think she's a witch or she's like different. So they're bullying her a lot. Gwen and Finn, they overthought that their mother killed herself. But we're gonna later find out if she killed herself or something else happened. Ernesto and Gwen decide to go to the youth camp. But Finn Blake is like, no, I don't want to go. We shouldn't go. But then in the end, he says, okay, I'm going to come with you guys. Because I don't want nothing bad to happen to you. And he doesn't like that Ernesto and Gwen are having like a relationship or they're getting there. And Finn is like a protective brother. The youth camp is hit by a very massive snowstorm. So Finn, Blake and Ernesto, they are the only ones there. And the leaders, of course, the camp leaders. But they got a phone call that said that they shouldn't come because the snowstorm is gonna close everybody in. It's a very cool scene when Ernesto and Gwen and Finn, they can't see anything when they're driving because the snowstorm is so massive. So Finn actually jumps out of the car and he runs in front of the car and he's telling them like, okay, this is safe. That scene is very cool. But then a girl comes on a horse and her name is Mustang and she's like with a flashlight. She's like, here, follow me. And she guides them inside the camp. And then they meet the other people in the camp. One of them is the camp leader, like the big boss, the owner of the camp. And he's been looking for the murdered children for a very long time. And he's been searching for them. And then it's a Christian white couple. And the woman Barbara. Oh my God, she was awful. And after a while I was like, oh, the actor who's playing Barbara, she's very great. Because I was really buying Barbara was a hateful person. She was like thrown in the Christian youth camp. She was like, oh, you're the devil child. And she was like, all that stuff. She was like actually awful person. And he was like, oh my God, the actor is so good because I believed in it. And then he wanted Gwen to sleep alone in a big sleeping area. And he said, no, the boys have to sleep in another one. It was kind of scary because Gwen kept having these nightmares. And when she gets hurt in the nightmares, she actually gets hurt in real life. So Ernesto and Finn are trying to keep her safe during the night. So they're taking turns. That was very interesting because it actually reminded me of Nightmare on Elm Street when Nancy says to Johnny Depp's character, okay, stay awake so you can protect me and wake me up when this time comes. When you see me twitching or you see me getting hurt, wake me up. It was the same thing. Then Gwen has a very powerful dream where she sees the grabber kill her mother. And the thing is, they overthought that her mother killed herself because she was having nightmares and she was dreaming about things that happened in real life. But it was actually the grabber who killed her. So she wouldn't squeal. And it's very believable that a psychic person that sees murders and stuff like that are gonna dream about the biggest serial killer in the town that lives very close to them. The whole emotional twist with Ernesto and Finn keeping Gwen alive was very, very cool because Finn was still getting phone calls, so he has to go out and answer the phone because they came from a phone booth that was by a lake. And the people who are calling him are actually the dead children. But then the grabber is like, Finn, you know that death is only a word. And at the same time, he attacks Gwen while she's sleeping. And he's trying to throw her around. Everybody who works at this Christian camp, they see this. So they see her flying around, levitate, and being thrown against the walls and stuff like that. That was very, very scary. And then Ernesto and the other ones, they saved Gwen, getting killed. And that scene is very, very scary. And then Barbara, she says, you're a devil's child, you're possessed, you need an exorcist, or something like that. But the thing is, she doesn't understand that the stuff that's doing this to her is actually the evil. It's the evil creature that comes in the dreams, like a demon. So Barbara was a very cool character. I liked her. So by the end, we find out where the children are, because Gwen was dreaming about this, and the children didn't know where they were. And then they come up with an idea. They have to remove the children, and they have to bury the children. If they bury them, the grabber is gonna lose his power. And that scene in the end when they find the children, Gwen is asleep and she's fighting him in her dream, and actually Finn can feel and sense where the grabber is, and he starts to pummel the guy, and the grabber is like, no, not again. And the children who were dead and they were like buried in the lake, they come up, and everybody like grabbing the grabber and throws him down, and then the grabber is like, no, not without my mask, or something like that, and he grabs his mask and puts it on. That scene was very cool. So I really enjoyed the movie a lot. I know a lot of people actually didn't like that Gwen was a main character, but for me it was very cool. For me, because I feel like both the characters had 50-50. Actually, I think that Black Phone 3 is on the way. In the last scene of the movie, it actually ends the same way that it began. Like, Gwen is getting a phone call from her mother, who's dead, of course. Finn is not answering. Finn doesn't hear the phone call. This phone call was actually for Gwen herself. And her mother says, Robin says hello to Finn. That was very cool. And I like this movie. It's very good. And I like most of the characters. Something I didn't like so much was sometimes the acting was a little bit wooden. There was not so much to ruin the movie. Or the arty stuff, because the arty stuff, when they went in Dreamscapes and they became reality, or when it was mixed, the mixed part was so cool, because when Gwen was thrown around and getting thrown into this big oven, it's a very cool scene. So, should you watch this movie at the cinema? Yes, I think so, because it's a very good movie. Or watch it down the line when it comes out on digital. I am really gonna buy this movie on digital, because I liked it a lot. Have you seen Black Phone? Tell me down in the comments if you've seen Black Phone 1 or 2. Yeah, tell me down in the comments. And did you like it or not? Okay, one thing. Please be nice. While you're down there and giving me comments, why not subscribe?
Smash that subscribe button!
Because if you subscribe, we can hang with each other even more. Bye bye hacks, bye bye hacks. Pom pom pom, pachom pachom pachom, quédate, pom pom.